what they don't tell you about the pageant world. So we only see a small amount of the actual pageant preparation when we're watching the competition on stage. It's kind of like an iceberg. You have the tip of the iceberg, which is what you see on TV, and then you have the whole bottom of it, which is underneath the surface that you don't see. That's the foundation of this little iceberg tip that you see on the top. The preparation itself is absolutely unreal. It's not just, let me get an evening gown, let me get a swimsuit, let me get, a cute interview dress and go. Hi everyone, my name is Chubby Berg and I am a former Miss New Jersey USA and first runner-up at Miss USA. I was also the first South Asian and the second person from New Jersey to achieve this placement in the history of the competition. I've mentioned earlier that growing up, I had absolutely zero intention of going into a world like pageantry. I sort of fell into it and I'm very grateful I did. But there's a lot that I know now that I wish I could have told my younger self before I was competing. I have had the privilege of seeing the pageant world not only as a contestant, but also as a judge and now a pageant coach. And here are some of the things that they don't tell you about the pageant world. So right off the bat, let's talk about the preparation. Now, when you're watching a show like Miss USA or Miss Universe that's televised, you are only seeing a very small percentage of the actual work and all that pageantry entails. When you're watching this final show, only a select group of the contestants are actually competing, not everyone, as they have been shortlisted from the preliminary competition. You are seeing them compete in swimsuit, in evening gown, and perhaps answering a couple of questions on stage. But to get to that point, there is an immense amount of physical preparation, but also mental and emotional preparation. And I had no idea about this when I first started off competing. Let's talk a little bit about the physical preparation involved in competing. So you have, at the very basic level, your swimsuit portion. Now, a competition like Miss USA, you don't have to have a certain physique, but you do need to be healthy. And they tell us from a judging perspective to make sure that the contestant that we select to move forward into the semifinals and then ultimately become the winner is an individual who looks like they live a healthy lifestyle. They specifically tell us not to pick people who seem like they've crash dieted to get to this point, but to pick an individual who has a healthy relationship with exercise, diet, and living a healthy lifestyle. However, preparing for a pageant is a significant amount of work. When you are going to be on stage in front of hundreds, if not thousands and millions of people, you want to make sure you look your best. So the physical preparation, working out training is just one aspect of that pageant prep. The second aspect of the physical preparation, which is what you see on stage, is the actual walk. It may seem like all these contestants are doing is walking, but there is hours of practice behind each of these walks. Everything from the turns that they're doing, to the way that they're walking, to the poses that they're doing at the end of the runway, these have all been thought out and practiced countless times to a point where it is most likely muscle memory. So, funny story, prior to competing, I had never worn heels greater than 1 inch. So I'm 5'9" and my mom just always said, why do you need to wear heels? You're already tall enough. So I would always just wear kitten heels. When I was competing, that was the first time I wore 5.5, 6.5 inch heels, and I could not even walk. I still remember my first time walking. I fell flat on my face like 3 or 4 times, and it took a whole lot of practice to actually learn how to walk in the heels, then catwalk and model walk, and then to actually pose and to feel comfortable in it. And this is something I practiced countless times. I would look at myself in the mirror, strike a pose, make sure that it looked the way I wanted to, recorded it. Everything was so thought out. But that is just the physical preparation alone. So the thing that no one actually tells you about when it comes to pageant prep is the immense amount of mental preparation that you need to go through. So the first thing that you need to get very comfortable with, or learn how to get very comfortable with, is handling pressure. When you are competing, it is so hard to not compare yourself to the other contestants. I think it's just human nature. You can see people doing this just on Instagram alone. How many times have you been scrolling online, you come across someone's photo or video, and you start to compare your life to theirs or think, oh my God, how does this person have X, Y, Z? I want that. Why don't I have that? Now imagine you're in a setting where you have all these intelligent, beautiful, successful women competing for a crown, competing for a title, and how hard it can be to not stalk your competition, see what they're up to, and feel like you're inadequate because you're not doing the same things as them, or you don't look like them, or they're doing X, Y, Z. So I would say that being able to not do that, to not compare, to not look at other people and just focus on your own lane in itself is a huge skill that you need to learn when you're competing in a pageant. The second thing I would say when it comes to pressure is just being able to deal with pageant fans. There are some die-hard pageant fans in the world, and they can be pretty nasty. It's one of those things about the pageant world that is not really my favorite, but some of these fans can be very intense. They can be very critical of you, of your walk, of how you look, of your body. And I remember competing before going to Miss USA. So many of my fellow contestants and I struggled with this thing. Going online, seeing comments about us, and then not letting that get to us. It takes a certain amount of just not caring about what people are saying and just minding your own business and focusing on yourself to really get through this. Something that has helped me immensely is this idea called the racing horse mindset. So if you're not aware, when horses are racing, they have blinders put on the sides of their face so that they don't get distracted by the other horses and they can just focus on their own path. And I really took that to heart. I had unfollowed any of those pageant fans, pageant forums where I knew I would be seeing what other people are doing. It may negatively affect my performance. And I also just did not focus on other contestants. I don't think I was following any other contestant. I just wanted to focus on my progress and what I was going to bring to the table. And that was just so, so helpful. Now, the second part of that mental prep, I would say, is getting ready for the question and answer. So this part of the competition is probably one that trips the most people. It is so nerve-wracking to be put on the spot live in front of people and be answered a question. You don't know what this question is beforehand. These questions are designed to test you and to see how you are able to articulate your thoughts under pressure. And it is very, very nerve-wracking. In order to deal with some of those nerves, you definitely need to prepare. Preparation will be your best friend when it comes to dealing with any nerves associated with the question and answer or interview portions of competition. What I found very helpful was keeping up to date with current events. I think just knowing the headlines and reading up on them every single day made me familiar with, okay, this is what's going on in the world. I'm not going to get asked something that is just completely off the cuff. Like, I am aware. I kind of have an understanding of, okay, these are the issues. I would take time to reflect on what my thoughts were, what my opinions were on these issues. And that added that layer of comfort. But also, in addition to that, I did a whole lot of mock interview practice. Mock interviews were so critical to my success and comfort on stage. The more you can practice just answering things off the cuff in front of people, if possible, the more comfortable you will feel when it is actually time to do this on stage in front of other people. It's going to feel like just another practice session if you do it enough, and it's also going to become a form of muscle memory to a certain extent. The third most important thing when it comes to mental preparation is to surround yourself with your people, to have a strong support network of friends, family, coaches, mentors, whoever it may be. Going through the preparation process before the pageant can be very nerve-wracking. There are so many instances where you may feel doubtful, you may feel like, is this even gonna lead to anything, uncertain? It's just a whole lot of emotions, and only someone who is competing will understand what I am saying. If you do not have someone to lean on in those times who just reminds you of why you're doing what you're doing, reminds you of who you are and how capable you are, it just makes the journey so much more challenging. So really surround yourself with people who love you. And when you're competing pageant weekend, make sure that your people are there for you. They will be the comfortable, known faces in the audience. And it really helps take down some of that pressure that you may be feeling on stage. I know for me, my mom, my best friend, my family, these people were so important to me competing at Miss New Jersey USA and even at Miss USA. When I was on stage, basically in front of millions of people on live TV for Miss USA, I just thought to myself, I'm doing this for my family. I've practiced in front of my family countless times, and I just visualized them in front of me, and it just helped with the nerves like nothing else. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Drop your thoughts down in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye!